stream. Right. Update title. Today, actually, I need to save this name and description. Database series. Thing, description. I'm continuing with configuration bot. 8. Bot configuration 2 with Python. Here's the description, update. Right. Okay. That should be fixed. Now I should check if it actually works. I think the chat is not working. I'm pretty sure it's not working. Hello. I've been busy, so I have not been able to send you my part of the program. I will tell you. Okay, that's good. Give me a second. Well, whatever question you have, I'm happy to help. But from the messages you sent, it seemed like you just want me to make you a solution from nothing. So that's not gonna happen because I have better things to do. But if you have questions, like specific questions or something specific is not clear to you, I'm more than happy to explain that. Should I need this? Let's chat. Missing something here. Oh, this chat settings. This. You just don't know how to start? Well, you should start the same way you started with your previous project. Get a file, get a script going that asks for some inputs, and then yeah, that's where you start, I guess. And then when you get into something you haven't done before or you don't understand how to do, then you can ask for help. Like, that seems like a reasonable approach to me. Chat. Okay, this is not correct. Dashboard. Okay, chat is fixed. Oh, it is better now. So I guess a good starting point could be your last project or your last assignment. Yeah, we'll start it right now. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll be working. We can be working side by side. Yeah, you have me in the background. I'll be working on my project, and whenever you have a question, I'm more than happy to help and answer. So we'll be working side by side. Right. Now I need to figure out where I stopped last time. I did a stream about databases yesterday. So everything is kind of all over the place at the moment. Let's see. Yeah, we'll have you in the background. Sounds good, man. Okay. That is completely fine. This is like, well, this isn't meant to be like entertaining Steam or anything like that. I'm not doing this for the views, obviously, because there aren't any. I'm just doing this because it helps me stay focused on doing the same task. It helps me not get distracted with YouTube or some game or something else. And I find when I stream what I'm programming, what I'm doing, like it just helps me with yeah, staying on track, regardless if anyone is watching or not. Talking to myself is not an issue. It's basically at this point it's just a reflex to be just speaking out loud whatever I'm doing, which might be a bit distracting in the background. I'm not sure. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Right. Yeah, I got killbot working last time. So I can enter, I can set the name. So the next should be, I feel that, yeah. Yeah, productivity is a big issue these days, especially when, well, I guess if you're still studying, yeah, it's always been like that. Studying is, I feel, is a little bit different. You're kind of forced to do that. But when you transition into working, like, you're kind of forced to do that as well, but there's no test, there's no one to grade your work, so it's way easier to get off the track and start being distracted with other things, and people will take lots of excuses. Like, you when you're working remotely, like, yeah, you can yeah, you can make excuses for pretty much any amount of delay you might need. It's, I guess it's a struggle of the modern age or something. Right. Bot extend. No, new bot. Killbot. Oh, general functionality is in the bot, right. Yes, I can take a look at the old implementation. So the second one is to set alliances. Okay, let's do that. I guess it should go to the general functionality again. The same way setting the name is currently implemented. Right, new killbot. Classifiers menu. So this is a menu item. No, this is the menu. So right, I need to add another menu item. Menu items. So this. Add a number 2. Second on the list, classes. Item. Yeah, the method that's gonna be called. We have set name. Make a new one. Set alliance. Except it's pretty much the same. I guess I could well, I guess after this one is done, I can see how can I refactor and extract common functionality. This message basics. Oh, so it was my yesterday stream. Okay, got a message that my yesterday stream is live now. Okay. Oh, I didn't change the title when I started streaming now. Okay, that's why. Okay. Not really important. Right, bot. Set alliances. Let's have it do nothing for now. So bot. Set alliances. Set alliance. Should it be set alliances? Let's leave it at set alliance. I think that's a good name. Oh, good enough. And I pass along killbot and new killbot. Oh, this is the callback, right? Damn it. Do you understand the concepts from the messages then? To be honest, I didn't really read all that much, but from what I gather, it's just a conversion between Fahrenheit and Celsius. And the point of the exercise is to pass along variables to the function of different types and access objects in global scope or something. I don't remember exactly, it didn't seem anything complicated. I can take a look now. Since you're here, I didn't really bother reading it in full. Oh, the image is quite small though. Can I actually copy link and open it in a browser? I think that would be better. Alright. You will create a user-defined function, passing variables both by value and by reference, and using arguments of different data types. I think, well, Python, well, everything is passed along as a reference, pretty much. So it doesn't really matter. It just means that this, well, this made sense in older programming languages like C++ or Java, where you can actually pass explicitly, you pass variables by reference or by value. And in Python, everything is pretty much passed along by reference, so, you know, it doesn't really, well, it's not important, that part. Requirements. For this project, you will write a program that requests the temperature value and temperature scale used for the user. So yeah, that's what you can do just by nature of knowing what you've done for the previous exercise. Like, this is trivial, so you ask for an input, ask for C for Celsius, F for Fahrenheit, and then ask for a temperature. And then write a single function that evaluates a given temperature and returns associated conversions. For example, the user could input the temperature value in Fahrenheit and receive the temperature in its Celsius equivalent. So basically, if you enter it in Celsius, your output is in Fahrenheit. The program will pass 3 variables, one for Celsius, one from Fahrenheit, and one flag that indicates the current temperature scale from which to convert. Wait, program will pass 3 variables, one for Celsius, okay, one for Fahrenheit, so I guess the numbers, and one flag that indicates the current temperature scale from which to convert. Like, this is such a backward way to write. Like, no one would write an application like that. We wouldn't write a method like that, like, unless you're explicitly told, like in this case, to have all these 3 variables. So define C, yes, and read or whatever. I don't remember what's the method. You can look at the previous application how you read the user input from the console or CLI, command line interface. That would be the official name. But right. Yeah, so, and you need to define a function that has 3 variables. Conversion. Use define keyword. So it even says what you need to do step by step. Def keyword to define the temperature function. In example, convert temp. So you write def, convert temp. Then in brackets, you have 3 different variables. So temperature, temperature scale, temperatures. So I guess Celsius, comma, what else? Fahrenheit, comma, and temperature scale. Why does it have like it? Again, it doesn't matter. Oh, accepts 2 parameters. So here they ask for 3 variables, and now they say to create a function with 2 parameters. Okay, so they don't really, okay, I guess they don't really care all that much. They won't be evaluating if you actually follow these very strictly. Wow, reference to learn to program with Python 3. 2nd edition, chapter 4. That is very specific. And another chapter from another, oh no, hopefully this is from the same book. Pass by value versus pass by reference. Does the function incorporate else if statement? Yeah, to start, yeah, you define CF and probably scale, or what's its name? I think it is this scale variable. Yeah, temperature scale. So, like, the names of the variables are up to you. If you like, you can use C, F, and S for scale. You can use the full names. Like, usually when you program, if you write a program, you don't really want to have your variables named X, A, B, C. Sing this up. So A, S, A. Because you don't really know, after a week you will be back and what the hell is A stands for, what the hell B stands for. So you avoid that. Usually you want to have values, like, all of these are variables. So you say guilds, alliances, players, webhook 1, kills. Like, you can have descriptive names. Like, they are, like, the names are there for your own sake. So you could easily understand what's supposed to be stored there, or how to use it. So it's just an example. When people give examples or give instructions, they like to use X, Y, I, like 1-letter names, just for brevity's sake, because it takes less space and it looks more cramped, more concise. But in real world, you don't really write names like that. Like, like, it's terrible practice. Like, there are only very few cases where it would be acceptable to have names like C, F, and so on. But it's completely up to you. This was easy, but I messed up one question. Oh, welcome back, Risk. Good, good. That was the first thing I wanted to ask. I wonder, when I just started streaming, I was wondering I wonder if Risk is finished with his test. Good if it was an easy. Messed up? What did you mess up? I thought it was a very basic test. Actually, it was either online code editor which was creating issue. Oh. Oh. Oh, you wrote inline JavaScript. Yeah, you wanted to be fancy. Killbot. Callback. Then I need classifier. I was supposed to write in externally in the given box. Write in externally in the given box. Not sure what that means, actually. Right. External JavaScript. I don't think you understand what means external JavaScript. External JavaScript usually means it's outside the your domain. Like so probably they were just asking for a block of some sort of JavaScript, and Okay. Get what you're saying, I guess. So why didn't you follow the instructions? That would be my question. Why did you insist on writing it, writing an inline expression instead of providing it where you were supposed to provide it? Or it wasn't clear at the time? I'm sure if they... Oh, they should be able to figure out what happened if they see your inline code. Menus. I need a new menu defined. Edit. Bot alliances. String. So for the first step, it's saying I have to define a temp list. No, not really. You don't need a list. You just need variables. It says in the first step in the instructions, it says you need to define a function. Let's see, use def keyword to define a temperature conversion function. It's not a list. And definition of a function is very simple. Like functions is something you like the whole code is littered. So def, that's how you define a function, and then you have then it's followed by the name of the function, and then in brackets you have variables that function accepts. So self you can ignore, like this you won't need that. It has to do where this function is defined. Since it's defined inside a class, it just means, well, it just has to have this variable. For you it will be I think it's temperature, comma, and then scale, and that's it. Like you don't even need to define types. Like if you want to define type of your variable, you can have like semicolon and then define its type. So, but it's just it's not necessary. I don't really have enough. Well, yeah, all of these functions have definitions more complex. Okay, so 3 variables needed. Do I define them with the equations given? No, the equations will be done inside the function itself. So this is just definition. So first line, that's what I'm talking about. If you take a look, so this is definition of a function, which his name is, well, in this case it's underscore underscore init underscore underscore. In your case it's whatever you choose, conversion, temperature conversion or something. Then in brackets you have temperature, comma. You just need 2 variables in the function definition, because when you call it you will pass along 2 values, and then actually you need an if. Well, I guess you, okay, we'll see when you have something working. So yeah, you have 2 variables, one for temperature, one for the scale type, and that's it. And then you close the brackets and you put down a semicolon, and then you start actually writing the function and doing the calculations. So that's where you will use the formulas. In here you just define their names, so you would know how to, well, so you would know by what name you reference them inside the function itself. So there's nothing complicated about that. Well, don't overthink it. Yeah, no, you don't need that. You need them define what they were talking about in the in this. They meant, let's see. I have, let's make a file. It will be. I said I won't do this, but I guess I can show an example. And I make a file. Okay. New file. This is confusing. No, it's fine. You see, as long as you have reasonable questions, as long as you're trying and giving me a reasonable question, like reasonable for someone who's, well, maybe doesn't even know anything about programming, but has the questions make sense, I'm fine with answering and explaining that. Because I think you're overthinking it a little bit, because what actually, well, they don't say it all that well in the what's its name, assignment in this description, because here they say they want 3 variables, here they say they need 2 parameters, which is pretty much the same thing, but this is talking outside the scope of the function. So when your application starts, give me a second, I'll just okay, cheating, guess is fitting name of the function. So what they mean is just have like Celsius, then you have Fahrenheit. Yes, you can define values. Oh, I don't want to import anything. So you have this, and you have what's its name? Oh, scale, right? So scale. So not all of them are undefined. They don't really have any values yet. So this is what they are talking. You need to have 3 values to store, one for Celsius, one for storing Fahrenheit, and one for storing which scale you currently are using. And when you define, you also need to write a function, define convert something, which has 2 variables, which is temperature and scale. And I guess, well, the tricky thing is this scale is not equal to this scale, even though it will be passed along. But this just means inside this function you will have access to temperature and scale. So if scale is C, you do one thing, then if else if scale is equal to F, you do another thing. So that's what they mean. That's what they want you to do. So no value for either. No, you have the values. We'll get to that part where we get the values. You will store the values in these 3 variables, well, conditionally. You don't really need to do this, but this is how the exercise is worded, so that's why I defined it. So I imagine they will expect to see that in your code in some form. Why it's complaining about the scale? What did I mess up? Don't really see it. Oh, this is assignment. It's to be equal. Right. So I guess they are teaching you about functions. So this is just the definition. It doesn't do anything. It just defines that there is a function that takes 2 arguments, 2 variables or 2 parameters. Like you can call them however you please. And this is the if statement, so it will check the value of this. If this value is equal to C, then it does the calculation for converting to Fahrenheit. And let's say what was it? Double equals, yeah, that is correct. Double equals is to check, to compare values. 1 equal sign is to assign a value, and double equal is to compare if they are equal. It's just an oddity about programming. In other places, well, yeah, I won't. Yeah, that would, it's not relevant, I guess. In SQL, you 1 equal is for comparison. We're not interested in SQL at the moment. So yeah, you have this. So if you have Celsius, this is how you get converted to Fahrenheit. So for example, let's keep this above. both are visible. So yeah, if Celsius was provided, I return, let's see, Celsius. So in this case it will be temperature times 9 divided by 5, that's a nice formula, plus 32. 9/5. So that's the scale at which it... okay, whatever. Those American units are odd. At least for me personally. And if you convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit, then you get temperature. When you have temperature in Fahrenheit, that's what you do. Temperature minus 32. Then you multiply it by 5 divided by 9. It should be fine, like one by one. I'm pretty sure it will be fine. This doesn't really need brackets. Oh, I guess they are in there. Well, whatever. So the key thing is you take two arguments. You see, okay, so this is just the definition. Like it's not really all that important at the moment. The key thing is whatever input, and you ask for scale. I don't remember what's the input. Provide scale F for Fahrenheit. I don't even know how it's spelled. C for Celsius. Yeah, I don't even know how Celsius is spelled actually. Celsius. Oh yeah, correct. Fahrenheit. Okay. So, and this input will be stored as scale. And then you ask for temperature. Input. This temperature. In given scale. Something like this. So, because you don't really use this yet, maybe that's what's throwing you off. Because we will use this in the future. It just asks you in this to define it in this order. And then it, yeah, and the third step, it asks for the input. Well, asks you to prompt user to input the values. Oh, I broke my chat. My program is wrong. I doubt it. My program is definitely wrong because I'm doing it differently than they say, because it doesn't make sense in my opinion. Like, you don't need 3 values. Like these are not needed for this case. Well, I guess you can result, and then you can calculate the result by calling this convert function. Yeah, it needs to be defined, so this will have to be after the function definition. So I guess this has to go at the very front. Makes more sense. Right, so you call your convert function, continue, convert, and you give temperature and scale. So these values will be passed along, and the result that is returned by the function will be stored in the result. And you print conversion result, to be a string. So the second picture is sent to you is the expected output. Well, then for the output you just play around with formatting so it matches it. There are many ways to do that. So the key thing they are trying to teach you is to define a function and pass values to the function like this. Maybe I should name something different. So user provided scale. Oh, temperature. And here, scale. Here we have user provided temperature. So yeah, these are as good as S and C and T or something. And then when you read this is how you ask for user input, I think. I don't remember. I don't use that sort of thing myself. And then you give those values to the function we defined here, which does the conversion. Then conversion would be result. I might need to convert it into string. Let's see if this runs. Okay, let's save it. Run. Okay, provide scale. So F. What is temperature in Fahrenheit? So let's say I want to know what 60 is in Celsius, and it crashed. Oh, I need to convert these values into integers. It tries to use that in calculations. This. Use the string and in before input. Yeah, that is true. So, well, that is correct. You're absolutely right. I need to do the conversion. But yeah, the idea is this. So I enter Fahrenheit. I want to know what 60 is in Celsius. It still crashes. Oh, F. What? Oh yeah, scale is actually no, not an integer. That's dumb. Only temperature is a number. Okay, try again. Fahrenheit 60. Oh, 60. Yeah, and that's 15.5 degrees converted to Celsius. So this is, well, this is what this function, this small script does. Because input is already a string by default, so read a string from a standard input. So yeah, it returns a string, so you don't need to do this string conversions anymore. But when you need it to be a number, then you need to do the conversion into integer. But I think we did the same in the previous. We did the same in your previous task. So if you want to, if you want more time to look at this, make a screenshot, and I'll switch back to doing my thing. And if you have any questions, yeah, I see how it is similar. Yeah, well, because usually you build skills like when you're learning. Yeah, the goal is to build on top of skills you learned previously. So it kind of makes sense that everything is kind of similar to everything else, with some extra stuff. I need to pay you for this? If you want, I don't mind. I feel bad. Well, you know, it's not necessary. Just so yeah, take a screenshot and do it in a way where it conforms to whatever your requirements are. Like, I will send you some money tomorrow, my friend. Okay, I won't say no to getting some money. I'm not against that, especially now when I'm looking for work. It definitely helps. No problem, man. You have been helping. Well, no, it's no problem. As I said, did you take a screenshot? Because I will be closing this window. I will be working on my own thing. So, yes, I did. Okay, so I can work on my stuff, and then if you have any questions, we can go back and, well, well, implement it in a way where it conforms to the requirements of your exercise. Like, it needs like nicer formatting. That shouldn't be an issue. You've done that before, and you should be knowledgeable enough to figure that stuff out. Yeah, I'll have you in the background. Okay, so getting back to whatever I was doing. That alliances. Killbot, new battlebot. Yeah, I can rage, no worries. Yeah, so cool. So that's that kind of help I can do. where person is actually involved in the process and actively asking questions, that I can endorse. That kind of help. Even though in the result I pretty much showed you everything you need to know, but I pretty much solved it for you, but I don't see it as a big issue. Because you were actually invested in it. Well, that's not the right expression, but I guess you get what I mean. I was so confused on the first part. Yeah, I was so confused. Well, it is poorly worded. I'll give you that. I definitely see how a person who doesn't really know programming, doesn't really have much experience with it, would be confused by their type, like their choice of arranging everything. They ask for 3 variables, then for 2 parameters and so on. Like, why? It doesn't really make sense unless you know the solution. When you don't know the solution, like, this is very poorly arranged. Because how this exercise should be written is, well, to get the same result. First of all, it shouldn't tell you to define anything. It should ask you, should be the first step. Prompt the user to enter temperature value and then the scale. So this should be at the very beginning, because that's how you get initial values. You will be manipulating. So you do that, and then you can define a function, which is what will actually do the conversion. Yeah, I'm not sure where the pass by reference or pass by value come into play. You don't really need that. I'm not sure how they force that. So, because also so dumb. Because they tell you as an example, have these parameters or have this function name, which is exactly what you need to do. Like, what kind of example? This is not example, this is the solution. You need one. Assignment wording has been told. Yeah, it's not the best. It's definitely written from a perspective of someone who already knows how to solve it. They didn't seem to keep in mind that people who will be reading that might not know how to actually do that. Okay, and the second part, as define and initialize your temps. This to hold 2 number values. Don't really need to initialize anything. Initialize both positions to 0 for now. So this is dumb. Oh yeah, so this is how it's everything. It's all scattered around. Like, there's no the way it's written. It makes sense for a developer because that's how you would actually go around writing the code, I guess. But yeah, for someone who's just learning and trying to do this as an exercise, like it doesn't make sense until you're done. Yeah, so right, bots are back. Log this. YouTube, restream. These scam links won't be visible. Right. As file menus, edit bot name, edit bot alliance. I appreciate your help, man. This wording was a struggle. Yeah, well, I can definitely see why. I just, well, understand understand my point of view as well, because when people come to me and they say, well, because you're not the first one who comes asking for help, and the only thing they give us, I just don't know, I don't know, I don't understand, is like, you know, it just feels like a person who's asking for help didn't put any effort into it. So well, if you're not willing to put any effort into trying to figure it out by yourself, why would I be willing to put effort in trying to explain it to you? So, you know, when I can see that person is trying and putting in effort, then yeah, like I'm all for helping that type of person. But when I just get a message, I don't understand anything, please help, and you know. I have called the professor and he talks like I am an experienced programmer. I try to figure it out first before going to anyone. Well, yeah, you know, I don't doubt that, but you know, there's a limit how much you can trust people on the internet. This is a typo. Edit. What alliances? Alliances. So yeah, I don't mean to offend, it's just I don't really trust people on the internet. If they say something like I usually okay. I won't argue with people, I won't say that I don't believe them, but sure, if you say so. Like I have no way of verifying that. So you might say anything, and am I supposed to believe anything people say on the internet? So I actually need to see the proof. And you coming here trying to ask questions, reading through, like when you start showing proof that you actually put in extra effort, well, when that you are putting in effort, then I can be sure. No, I was not offended. I was not trying to make you do my work. I was trying to have you in the background and help me set up step by step on this one. Oh, and that's well, I guess it all worked out. Yeah, I guess the takeaway would be don't ask for help like in a very general way. Don't just say I need help and please help. Like, if you want to ask for someone's help, come with a solid, like with a concrete, specific question. What is not clear? If you're confused by the wording, but don't say that I don't understand the wording in the exercise. Ask for a specific phrase or a specific question, like part of the sentence. Like, for example, if you read through this assignment and you say it asks me to define 3 variables and then it asks me to have 2 parameters, like why is this? Like that is a good question. Like people will be willing to go into detail, read through and figure it out why it is like this. I even don't have a good answer for this. It just doesn't make sense. You don't need 3 variables. It just asks for them. My bad on that. Well, you know, it's just you know, we're all learning each day. We learn something new. I had same quest in previous course. Help or I send missile. it is difficult to understand. Yeah, it is poorly worded. Like obviously people who made this either didn't know much about programming themselves and were just following some other instructions, or it was written by a programmer who didn't give any thought to how it will be read by the student. This is maybe the, yeah, I guess if it was written by a professor of something, maybe those people, they tend to be quite far removed from the end user. They have a completely different perspective. Right, enough talking crap about the education system. Let's get back to work. Okay, I have bot alliances. I need to define labels, names for everything. Right, go new section, edit bot alliances. It needs name and list. I'll just copy everything. Why not? Killbot, what? Wait. Where is name change? New killbot? Edit alliance. Where is edit? Edit bot name? It's somewhere around here. Oh, it's a completely different spot. Oh, okay. My bad. Not have this here then. Have it here. Okay. What name added? Bot alliance. Right, so set alliances. No. Set alliances. Monitored. But this platform is so bad that it shows me you got 0 marks. Oh. Because it auto submitted it. And I did not submit it. Oh, wow. Wait, what? So basically you were doing the test, and since you didn't push the button in time and it did an auto submit, it says you scored 0? And the teacher she said it's normal. Wow, that sounds very normal. Damn. That's dumb. That's dumb but extra stupid. Alliances. Okay, let's edit alliances description. What should it say in the description? What does it say in the description now? Create bot, killbot. Set alliances. Please enter a short name of the alliance. Oh yeah, I need short names. Well, it's painful. Okay. Please enter the short name of the alliance. Okay. Maybe the description should explain that short name. Short name. Alliance is the name visible name player name tag. An example. Have this in brackets. Example. POE. Now POE knows, everyone knows POE. Yeah, this should be good, hopefully. So the translation is here. What else do I need? That's it. Guess I can do this. This part, where is it? Set alliance, set name. See what differs here. Do I get context. Its name. Change it to context. Context. It's context. Can you probably actually validate anything? Oh no, this is just cancel. What name? What alliance? Is it? All that different? Oh, handle use name update. Okay, so this has to be changed. I guess we can run and see if it works first. I haven't run it in a while. I hate it when you don't run your code for a while and then you figure out that you have a bunch of errors. You need to go back and rewrite a bunch of code. It's because you haven't run it in so long. It's my test bot. Oh, okay. An issue with the database. I actually restarted my machine. Let's see. Connection to the database. Haven't done it in a long time. There it is. Hopefully this is right. Yeah, if you take a look, uptime. Up. Is it 13 hours? Oh yeah, I guess I did it last evening. Well, yesterday. I think. So it's been up for 13 hours. Let's see. Run this now. Runs. Check how it does. Let's create killbot. Killbot. You have two options now. Yeah, you have two alliances. Yeah, those have all of this. Short name of the alliance. Example POE. Right. So, well, now since it's a copy paste of the name, if I enter POE myself, I should update the name alliance instead of assigning it to alliances monitor, but we'll fix it shortly. Damn, I this is like the best part of writing an application when you can already see the finish line. Like, this is the most exciting because this is pretty much the last functionality I need to implement, creating and editing bots, and that will be it. Pretty much, it will be ready to be launched, and well, yeah, like it well. Maybe it's not that you can see the finish line, but when you're over the hump, if I can say so, where you've done the majority of the work and everything is from now on is just downhill. So that is the most fun part of writing an application, at least for me personally. Because I don't really need to think all that much anymore. I just need like a handle input, handle name update, make a copy of this, handle alliance update, call handle update. Actually, I could refactor quite a bit of this. Could I? Let's see. Well, it is good practice to refactor your code when you can. So these two methods are extremely similar. I'm pretty sure I could extract common functionality. So both of them just construct a new menu, new input menu. The only difference is the classifier used. The rest is the same. And in the context, input handler is the only thing that differs. So I need, okay, let's define a function. Let's make it underscore to indicate that it shouldn't be used outside this module. And right, so the name would be create user input. Oh, sorry, I wasn't. How would I print to have both C and F values show? This is what I have. Give me a second. Copy that to the thing. See what I have here. Format this. Star. Fix. I'm sure there is a thing that will format. Find replace. Source. Format code. I didn't do anything. Because everything in one line doesn't really work. So this is what you have. Input, enter temperature value, enter T or F. That's all good. Result, convert. Right, so I guess you could, well, there are multiple ways to do this. Not sure which one is the best here. Both are kind of similar. You have entered, because you need to make a decision. When you run it, it only shows Celsius. So I guess you use the same convert function I defined. Yeah. Have it like this. We'll use your that. Run it. Is enter temperature value. Okay, so 62. Single letter. It's in Fahrenheit. Temperature Celsius is 16. Oh, so this is, you have entered this, right? Code. Oh, so you see, you well, you kind of have all the output already, except, well, you have degrees in Fahrenheit and degrees in Celsius. So I assume when you do it the other way around, it won't really make much sense. So if I run it again, I enter value in, let's say, what's the temperature outside here? -4. So let's say -4, and it's in Celsius, and in Fahrenheit it says it's 24.8. Well, in Celsius, even though it is in Fahrenheit. So I guess that's what you want to fix. You have entered -4 degrees C. So here you need to do the same thing as you did with calculation, how you decide what to calculate. This is, you should do the same thing when deciding what to output. So you pretty much copy paste this. Not cut, just copy it here, and instead of doing calculations, if you have provided Fahrenheit, you print out Celsius. If you provided Celsius, you print out Fahrenheit. Or it's spelled, I have it spelled somewhere. Yeah, it's correct. Right. And scale is actually user provided scale. So yeah, based on whatever you entered for scale, your output will be different. So this is how you would do it. So now, if you run it, and I enter a value -4 in Celsius, you see temperature in Fahrenheit is 28 because it doesn't go through this. Well, it goes to user provided scale C and doesn't do this. And if I do it again, do it the other way around, let's say 30 Fahrenheit, it will print out that it is in Celsius, it is -1.111. So I assume that's what you're going for. That's how I would do it. I'm not sure if that's correct, well, 100% correct, given the exercise, but I'm sure it's fine. So yeah, that's one solution. You can't really get around. I guess you could have 3 variables as they declared, but then you wouldn't be able to make sense. Like you wouldn't be able to make out what was actually entered. So there is another way to solve this, but I'm not really sure if you want to be bothered by that. Like, because technically you could have all 3 values. Well, you have, as the exercise states, let's see, Celsius is 0 to begin with, Fahrenheit is 0, and scale is whatever. Scale will be provided by the, well, user-defined scale. Let's say you can do it like this. Actually, you can't really do that like this, can you? So you either can have an if statement when reading the value. So you take this here, you read the value, and then you do an if statement depending on what was provided. You assign it to a different value. So you, if a person provided you with Celsius, you assign it to Fahrenheit. Well, you assign the calculation result to Fahrenheit. And the result, well, and Celsius, like this would be such a dumb way to do this, but I guess it would be considered okay as well. So you don't really need to do the conversion, you can just assign the value by itself. And in another case, if it was provided in Fahrenheit, the provided temperature, the result will be assigned to Celsius. Suppose this Fahrenheit will be equal to the value provided. So basically, this, you won't even need a function in this case. Like you never at any point you call this function, and you already have all the results, all the you have Celsius value, Fahrenheit value, and you can just print them out. So print temperature in Fahrenheit is, temperature in Celsius is, and you take Celsius to Celsius, Fahrenheit to Fahrenheit. And all of this is no longer necessary. So you can have this, and this will work, do the same thing. So this is another way to solve this, but then you don't really define any function. So in this case, you could use 3 variables. Just dumb way to do this, in my opinion. So let's say 50 degrees Celsius. I didn't convert to integer. Right. is very dumb, but this is how you can actually do that in, yeah. So, and it prints out both Fahrenheit and Celsius. So the one value will match the one you enter, and the other value will be the converted value. Like, you could do it like this, then you would actually create 3 variables as it states in the exercise, but then you don't really need the function itself. It's dumb. This is a dumb way to solve this. So yeah, I don't recommend doing that. Just stick with this, which actually has a function. It does everything you need, and I think I need to have that. Yeah. So, you know, just for for the sake of doing more stuff, I guess. Right. Bot. What I was doing extracting functionality. This. Right. Would you do another print statement to include the other temperature? Well, both temperatures are already printed out, so I'm not sure what do you want. What else do you want? Because one temperature gets printed out here, and the other temperature gets printed in the next line. If you want it to be in the same line, instead of printing it, you could do something like this. He wants both printed even for one input. Let me see what the actual output should look like. Enter temperature, yeah, enter temperature, enter value, enter the scale. Okay, you enter this and this. Temperature in Celsius is, temperature in Fahrenheit is this. Yeah, so you need to add the additional line in this case. Okay, well, whatever, you can. So this will be the result, and the other one. So basically you have the same line. Which one was first? Celsius is first. Okay, so Fahrenheit goes here and Celsius goes here. So you print 2 lines in each case. That's how you do that. And instead of result, you use user provided temperature because it matches your input. In this case for Celsius, in this case for Fahrenheit. Actually, Celsius goes first, so like this. So you see that will give you the exact output, because when you run it, value 50 Celsius. Okay. Oh, why did it print out twice? You have entered temperature in Celsius, temperature in Fahrenheit is, oh, this is not needed. That was my bad. Yeah, this is part of the old thing. Yeah, that's why it printed out 0. So this is part of the old solution. You run it now. Let's see, 60 Celsius. Yeah, you get Celsius. You have inputted this. Temperature in Celsius is this. Temperature in Fahrenheit is this. So you just print 2 lines. Or you can also, there's another way to do this as well. Well, I know it seems dumb, I don't know why. Okay, well, to be very anal, if your lecturer is very anal, maybe he wants you to do this. Let's see. So you don't actually print anything in this statement. You just assign correct values to correct variable. So let's see, Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit will be this. So you don't print anything and just assign the correct variable, correct value to correct variable. So Celsius will be this. Yeah, and here it's the other way around. So the result will go to Celsius, and this will be the user provided value is Fahrenheit. So you can do it like this without having two different print statements in each case. So this is just a roundabout way to do the same thing, but in this case you would make use of these variables, 3 variables that the exercise asks you to make. It's just an alternative way of doing things. I don't see benefit of doing it one way or another. I guess the benefit could be that if you want to change the output, you only have to change it in one place for Celsius and one place for Fahrenheit, and in previous case you would have to change it in both cases. You wouldn't do it like this anyway, so it is kind of pointless exercise. But if your teacher is very anal, he might prefer this over the previous solution, because now the result is the same anyways. So you do 60 Celsius and you see like the output is still the same. Would the second part be swapped? Yeah, so that's the difference. Okay, what's that? So this print and this. Yeah, that's the point of having it switched, because well, that's what happens. Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is incorrect, because result is actually the value after conversion. So when you have value in Celsius, the conversion should be conversion value is in Fahrenheit, so this is correct. But when you have Fahrenheit, the Fahrenheit is in this value. So the conversion has to go to Celsius. So it should be the other way around. Yeah, so all you need to swap is these, and you'll get the solution. This is my new one. Okay. Let's take a look. I wish formatting worked. Not sure why it doesn't. Usually does. Celsius file, so you switched these around. Okay, well that works. That's completely fine. Yeah, so user provided value when C is in Celsius and user provided value when F is in Fahrenheit. So yeah, this works as well. I just did it this way around because the example output had Celsius first and Fahrenheit next. So this is how you would get exactly the same output. But yeah, it depends on how anal your teacher is. Like both are fine. Like this exercise is dumb anyways. The point of the exercise, I guess, is to use functions, define function and call it with some variables and use some if statements. Yeah, he's very anal. Okay, so if he's very anal, do this. This is the solution. This is how it should look like. If he's very anal, like this is like he wouldn't have anything to argue against if this is your solution, because you are actually using these dumb variables you defined at the very beginning. Like you would have Celsius and Fahrenheit defined as 0, because that's what he says in the where was it? I think here. Where does it say? Was it here? Second page? And this image is blurry. define and initialize your temps list to hold two number values. Oh, it's a temperature list as well. Ugh. Initialize both positions to 0 for now. This user yeah, this is dumb. This is dumb for dumb's sake at this point. So if he wants you to use a list, he means that these Celsius and Fahrenheit values should be in a list. Like what would be a good way to do this? Damn, I don't miss studying because things like that don't really make sense. So okay, temperatures is a list with both values to 0, and we can like something like this, which I guess if you want to cram as many concepts as possible in one exercise. Good bong, I'm back. Welcome back. Still solving we're looking for dumber and dumber ways to solve this problem. So yeah, if he wants you to use a list for storing temperatures, that's how you would do. You would just have a convention that first is Celsius, second is Fahrenheit. Or whatever. Yeah, Fahrenheit, yeah, exactly. You can do that. Or Celsius, Fahrenheit, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So wherever you reference Celsius or Fahrenheit, you just switch out to be your list. So here you define it as 0, 0, so both values are 0. And Celsius is whichever. So yeah, well, I guess the only difficult thing is to remember that they are 0 indexed. So when you refer to the first element of the list, you need to use 0 value. Well, 0 indexed, it means that it starts counting elements from 0. So the first element is number 0. Just how programming is done. There's no rhyme or reason. Yeah, so this will be Celsius in my example. So yeah, and the second element will be, and when I use that to print out the values, so Fahrenheit was second in my case. I use them. This. And for Celsius, I do the same but with 0. If he's super anal and this is what he actually wants, probably this would be the best solution, closest to whatever he actually wants. If he wants you to use lists in particular. So these become, well, you don't even use them anymore. Like why would he ask you to define 3 variables in this case? Like you don't even need them. This exercise is just dumb. I can understand your confusion. I can totally see why how you would be confused. Like it's a very annoying way. Confusion was unreal. Yeah, I imagine. And yeah, and it still does the same thing, just in a different, like, with programming that's the case. Like there are 100 ways to solve the same problem. And like, let's see, 50 Celsius, and it does, oh, it says zeros. That's not good. Why does it say zeros? Bridge, don't worry about it. I messed something up. I provided this. Wait, something's not right. Temperatures. I had a Fibonacci series question too in today's exam. Oof. What's the Fibonacci sequence? I don't even remember. It's something like it depends. The next element depends on the something of previous two numbers or something. I don't remember. What's I don't even remember what Fibonacci sequence is. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. So yeah, it's sum of previous two numbers. Yeah, it's not something you come across in real life. Why this didn't work? I am confused now. Convert to provide the temperature is present. Don't have the conversion I do. It is still here. Maybe. Okay, let's do the debug thing. Let's go through this. What breaks? What happens here? Okay, enter value 50 T. Okay, let's look. What happens? Temperatures. Okay. 122. So everything gets assigned. And it prints out the value. Oh, so I guess last time I didn't enter the letter correctly, because if you enter something else than capital C or capital F, it just doesn't do the conversion. Did you register for Fiverr, by the way? Upwork is also a famous site. I did register for it, but I didn't go through the whole process of filling out all of my profile, and I think they call it gigs. So you need to define what kind of gigs you're doing. Can you Discord? Could you Discord me that code? Sure. Yeah. Something like that. Well, should be able to sort it out. What is what? Oh yeah, and the definition is here. So this probably goes first. Well, it needs to go first. Or maybe, I don't even know if Python cares. Probably will care. So yeah, let's just have that line before at the beginning, where you define both elements to be 0. I think, now that I think of, he might want you to do something else as well. Maybe this convert should assign, like this assignment could be done inside this convert function. Like you wouldn't have to do this if statement, because you already do that if statement here. And instead of returning, you take temperature. So when you have Celsius, I should do this. And C, do this. This is well, this is extra dumb. Only one exam left now. 7th of February. Then I'm free. Ooh, that's nice. I'm still baffled that your school year seems to be so odd. So instead of actually returning a value, I assign it Fahrenheit here. This assignment goes to Celsius. Cut, paste, this Fahrenheit. Because he talks about passing by value and passing by reference, so I guess you could pass along the array temps. Okay, this would be the array. Oh, not array, list. Array, you have arrays in C++, so this is how you define array in C++. It's the same thing pretty much. So now, what would make this different? Like, you pass a reference to a list. Well, I guess you could call it like this. So this is just another solution to the same damn thing. So now you don't actually need this anymore, and when you do the convert, you don't really need to store the result anywhere. You pass along temperature, you pass along scale, and then you pass along the temperatures list. So this list gets passed along and it will be manipulated inside. User provided scale, user provided temperature, and it will do the same thing. So you would tick another box that was kind of mentioned in the exercise, even though you don't confirm to other things. So this code would do the same thing in slightly different way again. Let's see. See, the output is the same. The code is quite different. So you don't even use these values anymore. Don't need these too much. Like, this is dumb. I will probably learn how Django works in time. Yeah, I'll just send it to you. Oh. I ended up doing the same thing, what I said I won't do, which is make the solution for you. But, you know, I see that you're putting an effort, so I don't mind helping you out like this. And this is actually dumb. Like, just doing it this way just because I don't think I need the lists. It is so extra work. I think you need the list actually, because he mentions, because if, as you said, if he is very anal, you see, that's what he does. He shows an example. He takes a list and assigns it to the first element of the list if temperature scale is C. So that's what we are doing inside our function. And he also mentioned here passing value and by reference. So this is the reference to an array. So this is not the value of the array. These are values, and this is the reference. So well, it covers more concepts, I guess, this type of solution. I need them, but I'm saying it could have been done other ways. Yeah, exactly. But this showcases the concept that you can pass along this array into a function, and if the array gets modified inside the function, the modifications will be accessible to the array outside the function as well. So it is an important concept in programming, but well, I guess you need to learn it at some point. But this is not the best way to showcase it, in my opinion. There are better. They could have designed a better task to showcase that this is happening. Yeah, this is just a bad exercise in my opinion. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not a lecturer, so I guess I shouldn't be throwing stones. I'm sure maybe he has a good justification why he made an exercise the way he did. Okay, well, no worries. Yeah. Well, I'm not worried, but oh. I'm trying to be understandable. Like, understanding. Don't really want to discount people as what would be the word? Competent? Even though they might be. Like, you always should look for a way to give a benefit of the doubt. maybe, but this looks like he just wanted to cram as many concepts as he could in as a small of an exercise as possible. Yeah, and it's just, the result is confusing and dumb. That's where the confusion arises from, because he made an exercise. You know what actually happened? I bet that's how he did it. He made an exercise with 3 arguments. He realized, okay, that solution is dumb, it could be done a different way. Then he modified parts of the exercise to reflect that with if-else statements. Then he realized he doesn't actually do anything with references, so then he crams in here that you need to use arrays, because then you can pass something by reference. And like, in the end, it's not a coherent exercise anymore. It just has just a Frankenstein of different exercises that he wanted this exercise to be. I think that's what happened. I think if you do this by yourself, I think a lot of people will be making it in, well, will not be conforming to the full extent. So you'll see a lot of people complaining about this exercise, I believe. But you know, if that's what happened, then yeah, he has it coming. Like, you should at least read through your exercise at least once. Like, really read through it and try to follow it if it makes sense. And if he didn't do that, then yeah, well, I guess we all are busy. I guess some are busy, more busy than others. Still, right. Edit bot aligns, that's done. Yeah, extracting this command functionality. After the else if, could I swap 0 and 1? I guess you could. I guess you either do that. Yeah, you could. Like, there are many ways to do the same thing. Because what I do, I swap around the assignment, what gets assigned to which thing. But if you wanted to have it like this, so the first thing gets assigned here, so it look the same, so you can do it like this, yeah, as well. It just, the order doesn't actually matter, it matters that the correct thing gets assigned to correct element in the array. And that's the important thing, that makes it work or not. And which order you do this, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so you can modify it, like, you can play around with it as much as you want. You can even make a long solution. You can solve it one way, then solve it another way, then solve it a third way. So all of the solutions I showed so far, you can combine into one long solution, where it asks you for input and then shows it in one way, shows it in another way. Well, all of the outputs will be the same, but the way you get the solution would be different. In one case, you just use if-else statements and 3 variables and no functions. Then you use a function which returns the value, and then you, based on what you entered, you will do the different output. Then if you use a list, you can, well, if you if you want to rub it in lecturer's face how dumb his exercise is, that's what you would do. You would solve it in all the dumb ways he indicates he wants it to be solved in the exercise itself. That would be, yeah, rubbing it in. But you know, he's he might not get the humor in that, then yeah, maybe you're not willing to risk that. Because some lecturers might not take it take well to being pointed out how dumb their exercises are. But if you really want, yeah, you can do that as well. Some might find it funny. And if you don't really care about the grade or being scrutinized a little bit extra, should I switch up the print statement at the end? You can. There's no reason you can, like, do whatever you want. Switch it out, change it completely. Like, yeah, it's up to you. It's up to your imagination what you want to do with it. Create. What was extracting this? Create user input. What do I use here? Menu context requires bot. I guess I need all of these variables. Or do I need? Okay. So I take this, and on top of that, I need callback. Actually, not a callback. Callback is the same. Just actually, it's passed along already. Okay, so callback is there. I don't need callback again. I need classifier, input menu, classifier, and the other thing I need, handler method. So now all of this goes here. So menu classifier will go here. Handler goes here. Right. So now instead of doing the same thing twice, we just call the method. We don't really need to do anything else, so just create user input. Menu classifier would be set name, the classifiers as menus that bot that it's set, I think. I did bot name, okay. Bot name, and handler is the bot name. Right. I can do the same now here. Instead of writing all of this code, I just have one line. I did bot name. Did bot alliance. The handler is handle alliance update. Right. I guess this yeah, this should be fine. Guess now I need to actually validate alliance update. Bot name, instead I define validate. Define alliances. Its name. Same arguments. What else? I guess this could be the thing. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. But this time I need to check which space do I have in the database. Where's my... I haven't started it yet. Yeah, let's look how much space I have for this field in the database. Based on that, the one looks like it. So, migrations. One. And this, oh, the requirements. This is very cramped. Alliance, alliance, alliance. It has 20 characters, so it has to be less than 90. What name too long? I make a general error that the input is too long. Instead of having a different error for different type of field, just have a general error, like value too long. I'm gonna go to bed and work on my next assignment. Thank you for the help, man. Oh, no problem. Good luck. Hopefully you get send questions if you have any. Well, sure. You can come on stream and ask them live. I think that's the most efficient way of communicating. Because when I'm on stream, like, it's... I'm kind of doing the same thing anyways, and off stream I might be doing something else, and yeah, I might not be even... Well, I might not have time for this. Yes, you have your notifications when you go live, okay? Well, that's good. I'm always... It's nice to have someone that to interact with. That's the nice thing about about streaming. You always, well, having someone to talk to, someone to help. Say value long. So yeah, anytime. Yeah, it makes streaming go better. Well, yeah, well, yeah, I guess that's the point of streaming at all. To interact with viewers. I guess in my case it's a little bit different, because I just stream for pretty much my own sake. But it's always nice that there are people who come along. Yeah, and I'm happy to help. Okay. There's actually... remember. Let's see who actually said this. There's a quote I like. Quote. We are here to help others. Who made this quote? Yeah, this is the one, I think. We are all here on Earth to help others. What on earth the others are here for, I don't know. I really like this quote. I think this is a good way to approach things. Like, don't refuse people when they ask for help. And I think it's originally a French mathematician did said this quote. At least he's attributed this quote. And like, you can go very deep and philosophical with it, but yeah, I just really like that quote. W.H. Auden. So W.H. Auden. Oh, it's American poet. I thought it was a mathematician. Stylistic and technical achievements, politics, morals, love and religion. Very right in tone. Okay, well, I guess I stand corrected. Well, still a brilliant quote, and I completely agree with it. I'd say this is my favorite quote, if I had to pick one. Right. Back to whatever I was doing. Yeah, just make a general error. Value long. Sounds like Chinglish or something, but will do. From my errors, right? Full error. Provided value is too long, sure is less than characters. Yeah, so instead of having individual errors for each field, I'll just have it a generic one, which will just say that the value is too long. And the value, it should be clear from the context what value I'm talking about. Right, value too long. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, let's use this. Guess I can delete this. What name too long? That. This to make it a little bit, well, we'll shorten classifiers a little bit. Right. Where was it? Killbot. Oh yeah, here. If there's an error, fires error, value too long. This has to be value too long. But now I also need context, error fields, value to be inserted, which will be 43. I think that's right. Can I actually pass along an integer? It doesn't have to be a string. 18. Technically this should work. So I will get an error. Guess I can extract this functionality as well, because it is very similar. Guess only the validation is, most of the validation is the same as well. Yeah, I can extract the validation as well. Well, extract a common method, because these are very, very similar. And then now they use the same error, so the only difference is the number. The value comes from the parameters already. Right. But let's check if it actually works. I don't want to use word testing, because that's not actually testing. It's checking. Testing implies a different level of depth. Killbot, cell, that configuration name. Right. Enter. Okay, it crashed. Non-type, it returned none. Guess something forgot to return something. Bot. Put menu. Validate. Handle name update. Variables callback. User input. Wait, something that's not right. Let's check what kind of error I get. What by? Oh. False show on current menu. Okay. Oh, how come current menu is not assigned? Callback didn't work. Variables. Bot and callback. Guess I need to do thing. Breakpoints. Handle name update. I have a breakpoint here. It seems like that's where something goes wrong. Killbot. Oh, what? Did I press cancel? That configuration name. I think something is not right. Let's restart it. Didn't I stop the application or something? Running two instances? It's possible. Oh, actually, I don't want to be running in debug. Okay. Bot, killbot, name. And it crashed. That's not good. Oh, it didn't even call the functions. Okay, that makes that explains why it crashed. Because it didn't actually get to this point. Oh, validate bot name. Handle menu update. This is what should be passed along here. Okay. See my mistake. So that work, no problem. Okay, let's test. Let's check. Test. New bot. killbot name alliance. Well, oh, alliance hasn't been signed. Okay. Oh, it just changed the name. Okay. I guess I forgot some mappings around. Handle alliance. Validate bot name. Validate alliance name. Case. Bot, and instead of name I update bot where class alliances. Text is probably more appropriate. Text. Text. Right. Balance update is actually passed along. Okay, so now it should work correctly. One. Make it too long. See how the error looks like. Less than brackets characters. Not correct. Or fields. Oh. Okay, now I remember. Actually not a list, it's a dictionary. Dictionary with a key, the error that you actually have. Value too long, good. This isn't right. Now it should work. Hopefully. Not the first time I say this. Eventually it will work. That's a true statement. Well, hopefully. Might not though. Set configuration name. Make it long, way too long. Crashes now. Has to be iterable, not an int. Okay, it has to be a list inside the dictionary. Right, this. That. You can move it down, make it a little bit easier. Right, run. What new killbot? That configuration name. Make it long. Okay. Write value is too long. Make sure it is less than 44 characters. But that's how you pronounce, well, spell characters. Okay, let's have the name like this, and then the same should work for the alliances. this. I get the same error. It looks good if I enter POE. Yeah, monitor alliances monitor gets assigned POE. Nice. I wonder if I actually do the conversion, because alliance tags should be uppercase only. But I think I've solved that in... I can check the database again. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's handled on the bots that use the values. Let's see. Select from Albion events. Select from operations. What I want is alliances. Alliances. Not write this empty string work like so where it's set. Okay. Yeah, people use capitals, lowercase letters, none. Oh, someone actually set it to none. Quite a few random values. Some of them seems to make sense though. Llama. 600, so I guess I selected 1000 values. Yeah, late. Okay, so I need to save whatever people enter. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. People enter the value however they please, and I show it the same way they entered. So that's all good. How to extract common features, common functionality. So when I'm validating string, validate string length. Yes, that would be the correct method name. Validate string and define take text, menu, parameters, same thing. Here except the length variable instead of numbers -1. I guess I can use the same value. Don't have to worry about it. Actually, this shouldn't be here. Here. Not context errors. And then I call validate string length. Validate string length. Text, menu, and length is 44 in this case. Then lines name, handle lines update. So instead of calling validate alliance, yes. Now this is fine. And context errors set. Here I call validate string length, text man, and length in this case is 19. Right. So both of these call the same thing. Validation methods could be next to each other. Have a bit gap here. A bit gap here, just to show that these are grouped together. Right. Name update, handle alliance update. Name errors. Okay, so can I combine some extract common functionality from here? Update text field, maybe? Okay, what do we have common? Call validation method, which is different. Guess I could remove this and incorporate this into the method itself. Then bot callback gets extracted from the variables, which is the same. Then I set the value. I guess I could. I think I leave it at this. Different methods. Then I check for errors. If there are errors, I just go back and show the error. Oh. Variables get extracted, so this is pretty much the same. This is different. And then callback is the same. Yeah, I definitely can make this into a common method. I think like I'm approaching that line over which it will be so abstract that it will be hard to read. I think this is kind of okay. I just don't like the redundancy on having a couple of methods, like having methods side by side that are basically identical. Callback, edit bot name. Yeah. So okay, let's look at the fields I will actually be setting. So name is just a string, alliances monitor is also just a string, skills monitor is also just a string, players monitor is also just a string. Webhook. Webhook is a little bit specialized. Kill fame is a number, and language will be selected from a given array of possible languages, of supported languages, I should say. So there will be quite a few strings, so maybe it's worth extracting this into a general method for handling string values. Fine. Update string value. Okay. So as a minimum, it takes these values. because that's where it will be called from. Right, so validation, one. Make it as general as possible. Right. So instead of validation bot, I call validation, whatever was passed along. If there are errors, return this, callback, and the name. So this is field. So field will get assigned the value. Fine. Like that. Guess I should. Right, so there is a thing attribute. Haven't actually played around with this. But there is a method called set attribute. An object will be. Where do I get the bot from? Oh, so the bot is here. Okay, so attribute. The name of attribute could come from the value. Value will be name. So like this. So this will take bot and assign this value to the attribute. So then I have a general method. The only difficulty is extracting the attribute name. Have name dot label, actually. Label. I think this would work. Okay, time to test it. So string property attribute. Attribute. Okay. Right. So now I just handle it. Instead of writing this whole thing myself, I have a name, menu. Actually, return this. Return this. So now the validation method is name. An attribute will be this bot name label. This will work. Oh, the bot is actually not defined yet. Text menu variables 0. Okay. So if this works fine, I should be able to just call, well, I should be able to edit. Okay, let's see if it crashes. The key thing. Crash it. Started, that's good. Killbot. Name. Working so far. Always a good sign. Do the too long thing. Let's see if we get an error. Don't. It crashed. String object has no attribute label. So it's an attribute. Okay. Property name. Oh, know what? I think I know what's wrong with it. So I'm selecting the instance instead of a class. This is a class thing. Classes, bot. Then I have name. Yes. Have. This work. Because it is a dictionary. Oh. Under the hood. Somehow it translates into a dictionary. I'm pretty sure if this is the correct way. Probably not. Let's see. Maybe this works. Maybe I'm overthinking this. I'm probably not correct. No, it is not correct. Has no attribute name. Okay, extracting name of the property. That's what I should be looking for. Python. Data model, object, values, types. Want classes actually. That's what we want. Property names. Data model classes. Or about names and objects. There is an example of accessing the name of the variable of the property. This is assignment. I'm looking at the wrong spot. Data append. Should be at the very end if there's anything. There's a more advanced feature or more advanced use case. Yeah, I don't see anything. This defines update. Private variables. Inheritance, random remarks. So it's okay. Don't really see anything. Class and instance variables. Let's look for set attribute. That's what built-in function. This counterpart of get attribute. I should add an example. That's the value of a named attribute object. Must be a string. Okay. Let's just Google Python class attribute name. A string. Let's say this. Stack Overflow, of course. Yeah, well, I don't really want to use strings, that's the issue. Okay, so it has arrays. Access. Okay, so this is not the question I'm looking for. Data. Class var. Okay, this is not useful. Let's look at class definition again. Classes. Scopes and namespaces. Base examples. First look class definition, syntax, class objects. Object method. Variables. Class and variables. I would say this is a property, but call it variable here. Okay. Right. What? And as discussed in words, what about names and objects? Yeah, that can have possibly surprising effects. Tricky example, I don't care. Correct design of the class should use instance variables instead. Right. The attributes may be referenced by methods as well as right. And yeah, this attribute name. So this links to the documentation. To avoid using strings. Yes, okay. Can't really find a good solution. Though I hate it. Let's see. Bot. Let's have capitalize. So it's a string method. Or so it assumes it's a string. Well, I guess I declare it's a string. So in this case, I should be using name. So it will work this way, I'm pretty sure. But I hate having to use strings in my code. Especially I'm referencing a property or variable, class variable. So this should be fine. I guess if I don't really have a choice, I will do that. Yeah, I get name there, and then it's signed, it signs correctly. So this is a workaround, which I hate. So how do I get this? I'm sure there's a way. There must be a way. Converting class variable name to string. Hopefully he knows Python at all. I1, okay, so probably it's Python. Not possible. See conclusions at the end. Okay, what's the conclusion? In conclusion, Python passes only memory addresses as arguments to functions. Data, so this is a long-winded explanation. I guess the question is right, is wrong. Like to see var would print something else, and this is extremely annoying. Variable name. Iteration tools. Iter tools. Return. Lambda. Global. Items. Items come from. Our name. This happens for class members. Well, this is a class member, but as long as it's a variable and not a second class, this here works for me. Almost like, okay. Okay, this doesn't seem to be the right thing. Convert a variable name to string. this variable name to string. Locals items. Okay, let's look at locals method. That seems like a Python function. Update and return a dictionary representing the current local symbol table. Free variables are returned by locals when it is called in function blocks, but not in class blocks. Know that at the module level, locals and globals are the same dictionary. No, the contents of this dictionary should not be modified. Changes may not affect the values of the local. Right. So this is the built-in function, locals. Property. Actually, maybe there's something like this. Instance subclass get attribute. Class method. Type. Get attribute and set attribute don't really help me. Well, convert string to variable name. Convert. Yeah, so the other way class and class and instance variables Python that have something. Locals, yeah, I don't really care about locals. Can I actually call locals on a class instance? Not just randomly. Class variables. Animal type. This looks good. Attribute shark. Right stuff. Okay. Type location. Assign some values. Follower. Yes, I want to go followers. Okay, that's nothing useful here. So let's go locals again. Useless. Oh, this is actually. Okay, let's go deep into second page of Google. Really deep. Type ID. Oh, integer notation. Okay. values and types with type hierarchy. And set type mappings. Methods, function, classes, so an arbitrary class can be made callable. Okay. Classes. Dick. Well, this is the dictionary. Well, still doesn't help me. Last time step it will recreate class definition. Class has a namespace implemented by dictionary object. Attribute references are translated to lookups in this dictionary. Example, c.x is translated to c dict x. Although there are a number of hooks which allow for other means of locating attributes, the attribute name is not found there. The attribute search continues at the base class, so on. Given a class attribute reference class C, okay. Build a class method object is transformed into an instance method object. Alpha above and A. Bases, tuple containing the base classes. Modules, name the module, name the class name, class instance. No class attribute is found, and the object's class has a getAttribute method that is called to satisfy the lookup. Attribute, delete attribute, special method names. I guess there is a dictionary with all the stuff that method has. So it is a dictionary entry. Right. Yeah, I don't think I can't figure it out. I don't think I can't see a solution for this. Not at least I don't see a good solution. So in this case I do the same thing, except now I'm not setting menu, I'm setting alliances. This. not string, it's text. Change here, text. Well, right. Well, in any case, I'm done for today. Need to go make lunch and so on. I guess I'll continue tomorrow. I'll try to figure out if I can make this nicer. Hopefully I can, because I really hate using, like, now that the code just has random strings associated, well, referenced in it. Since when I have a data class, I don't see how I couldn't pass along the reference to this property. Well, it would be very convenient,